Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Revival of America podcast. This is Jenny. I'm the owner and the host of the Revival of America. Today we have Captain Kyle, guys. He's back. It's been a minute since he's been with us, so I'm really excited to see what he has to bring today. So please, if you have a question for Captain Kyle here on Rumble, hello, Rumble. Let me know in the chat that you can hear me okay. I'm testing this whole going live thing on Rumble out. Make sure it sounds okay. I've been listening back to some of these podcasts, and they might sound a little bit teeny, a little bit too trebly. I don't know. Got to figure it out. But anyway, just let me know you guys can hear me okay and at Rumble. And obviously, I know you guys can hear me okay on Telegram because this is where we normally do them. But if you guys have questions for Captain Kyle over on Rumble, write your question in the comment box. I will read it to Captain at some point in this podcast. Telegram, if you guys have a question for Captain Kyle, you guys know what to do. Raise your hand. I will unmute your mic, and I will call on you to have you ask your question to Captain. If you cannot speak, go ahead and write it underneath this picture over on the wall, and you can write it underneath the comments over on the wall over on Telegram. Also, to everybody, I can't implore you enough. I say it all the time. I'm going to continue to say it. Be careful who you listen to, who you follow, what you're putting into your mind. It's crazy out there. It has to happen, though. And if you listen to Captain Kyle's Truck Talk today, he talked about that as well as, we did just a minute ago in Warren's podcast. We're talking a lot about it in a lot of these spaces, chats, podcasts, because it's happening. It's happening so much. It's very obvious. So hopefully for those of you that have been confused on who to listen to and who to follow, it's becoming a little bit easier for you, maybe who to pay attention to. But if you're still in that boat, you just don't know who to follow Donald Trump first and foremost, God above, but follow Donald Trump because he's really telling us, guys. He's really telling us what's going on, and I think it's super exciting. I'm super stoked about it because I am hoping that more of you guys will see how he is really telling us without directly telling us. So hang in there, guys. We are in it. We are in this storm. It's what is it going to look like? People keep asking in the days, weeks to come. Nobody really knows. Just stay head on a swivel. Stay focused. Juan made a comment earlier today about that. It sounds to me, that a lot of people talk about these sleeper cells and whatnot, that it looks like they're getting ahead of it. Is there still going to be potentiality of some challenges? Of course. I think that's in everyday life, right? We're already seeing a bunch of crazies out there, but just stay out of the noise, stay out of the fear, because that's what a lot of these Trump haters, the naysayers, all of that stuff, that's what they're doing. They know they're done, guys, and it's very obvious they're done. What happened yesterday with that executive order with Trump was fire, and that was for the mail-in ballots. Like we just said in the last podcast with Warren, we believe it's going to come in pieces. The next will be the machine. So, but remember, these laws are already there. They're just not going by these laws. So Trump is he's putting his foot down, and he's basically he's given them the opportunity to do the right thing. Obviously, they haven't. So now he's having to force it. So a lot of great things, guys. We are winning, winning, winning. Hang on to the positives. There's so many positives that are happening, so much more than there is negative, but they're highlighting the negative. And unfortunately, we've got the lying stream media still focusing on the negative. So stay with your favorite podcasters, stay with whoever it is, Donald Trump, whatever it is, and just listen to them. If you're happy with what they're doing and you're feeling somewhat at peace, excited, which you should, then I highly suggest you stick with them, because you want to feel peaceful right now, because it's already crazy. It's been crazy. But listen to Captain Kyle's Truck Talk, because he does say that we are coming to the end of this craziness, but we have to go through some stuff in the meantime. So what that looks like, I don't know. But just be careful out there, everybody. Stay focused and head on a swivel. And be careful who you follow. Also, to everybody, if you want to listen to the replay because you come into the podcast late, or share it with a family or friend, you can follow the podcast host on the podcast host or social medias. We are being listened to in over 100 countries, guys, so we are making a lot of great positive noise. The guests are consistent, their message is consistent, and that's a key thing to be looking for in this movement, and the messaging and education that we're all trying to put out there for you. Podcast hosts are iHeartRadio, Spotify, Anchor, Apple, Google, Breaker, Pocket Cast, Podbean, Riverside, Amazon Music. Social medias are Jenny Jeread Facebook, at Jenny Jeread X. Oh, excuse me, at Jenny_Jeread X, at J Jeread Rumble, at J Jeread Telegram, True Social. You guys, it's been a day. Oh my gosh, this is my third show today. At J Jeread Instagram, the Revival of America YouTube, and the Revival of America right here on Telegram. Also, guys, I'm getting a lot of messages, DMs, emails, whatever it may be. Please, I'm going to centralize everything to my email, and that's the revival of America at yahoo.com. Please send me your message regarding if you have questions about Field's books, you want to get in touch with John Baxter and his staff, have questions about that. Rick Anson with Brain IQ Health, Jason with 3D security systems. Let me know over there, because that way it's easier for me to get in touch with you and quicker there. Just because I'm busy with my day gig, guys, and like I said earlier in the last two shows, I will, by the end of my week today, have done 8 shows, plus on top of that do my day gig. So bear with me, guys. I'm a one-man show over here, but we're doing good stuff over here and making some noise. So just send me an email. Again, the revival of America at yahoo.com. If you have a story or a journey to tell, please email me at troasubmissions at yahoo.com. This is for you guys to give me a synopsis of your story. If you want to share whatever it is, because you've been censored or you just didn't know where to go, please send the submissions over there. I do vet them, because unfortunately, guys, we do get the shysters that want to get on a show with a fake story. So I'm not having it, but I will get back to you via email if I believe your story is legitimate, and we'll get your story, your voice heard and scheduled on the show, because remember, it's your story, your voice. It's going to help shape this new world that we're coming into. And last but certainly not least, if you get a random message, whether it's saying from me or any of my guests, know that we will not randomly reach out to you, ask you if you're ready for the scare event, any financials, any crypto. Please block, report them, let me know so I can make sure they're not in any of my channels, because these scammers are getting more creative by the day. So be careful. There's one happening over on my Rumble page when John Baxter comes on. They're impersonating John, and they're giving you an email. You respond to that email. They start talking to you about, like, they know what they're talking about. You fall for it. Then the next thing you know, you've given the money, and then you have nothing to show for it. So please, guys, be careful. They are out there in full force. So with that, guys, Captain is here. He typically gives us 90 minutes of his time, and he has not been here in a while because he too is busy with his day gig and his life. And I'm super stoked to have him here. It's been a hot second. But yeah, I'm anxious to see what he has to say amongst all my other guests that I have had today. But how are you, my friend? We've missed you. Holy cow.
I'm doing good. How are you?
I'm doing fantastic. Never complain. Where you at? You in front of the ocean?
I am at my little secret hiding spot next to the water, and I'm right in line with the ship traffic. You're about to see a ship come right in front of my truck.
Okay, so this is where you typically go. Okay.
No, this
I
is one of my
love it.
places. Yeah, this is one that nobody really knows about.
Well, I love it. Very peaceful. Very peaceful. And by the way, great truck talk, by the way. I was just telling the audience about it if they haven't seen it yet. Oh, there's the ship, guys. They need to go listen to it because it's spot on, and you're talking about, the noise and all that kind of stuff, and that we're coming to the end of this. What is that? An oil? What is that?
It's a
What kind of
grain,
ship is it?
and
Oh.
so it's where they carry like grains and different stuff like that, and it's cargo holds in the bottom. So
Oh, look
those are
at
like
that.
So there's the crane right there that opens up hatches on each one of the hatches that they put the materials down inside of the ship's belly.
Oh, damn. I don't think I've ever seen a ship like that. I've always seen like the container ships and stuff, but not one like that. That's cool.
So as you can see, it's probably about 100 yards away from me.
Wow. You're close.
Yeah.
So for those of you over there on Rumble, Captain Kyle is on my Telegram, and he just comes on in the beginning and just kind of gives us a little glimpse of where he's at. If Captain wants to come on and do video, he and I can maybe schedule something like that, since I'm doing more video and lives right now. But we'll talk about that in the back. But to see him visually right now, he's not visual. He's just showing us his location in front of the water. He'll eventually. Oh, there he is in his pink shirt today.
That's right.
I love it. So, how are you, and what's been going on in your world, Captain? I know you've been busy.
So just doing a lot of work. Yeah, as people imagine, the oil and gas and energy sector is in like overdrive right now, and doing a lot of different things to make sure things stay the way that they are. And people don't understand that the reason that Trump did a lot of what he did to start with, because this was all pre-understood that this was all going to happen. And so basically he positioned ourselves last year to get ourselves back in a production standpoint where we were actually still where we were before the other knuckleheads came into office and then showed everybody what it's like to be um, at the stranglehold of other countries and other nations, and got us back into a position of being export dominant. And because of that, now that this is happening, we're not the ones really that are struggling. Yeah, prices are higher because of it, because that's off of the global demand, but not necessarily anything that we're not short anything here. We're actually exporting out the yin yang to help supplement that to other countries around the world. And they're the ones really that are in a really bad situation, because Trump has told them over and over again that you've put yourself in the hands of other countries for your basic economic needs. And when things go south, you're dependent on those other countries. And if they're not able to supply your needs, then you're going to be the one that gets hurt. And this has happened over and over and over again. And so we're not actually in a bad situation. Yes, things are a little bit higher because of it, but that's only because of the necessities of what's being extra going out to the rest of the world. And this is all part of having to eliminate the problem. The problem is the cancer of the terror cell that's been allowed to continually operate in the Middle East. That's been the cancer. And so they've always used this play that they would shut down the strait. This would cause energy prices to go over the moon. And they always use this as their threat leverage to basically have the rest of people always submit under that control. Well, sooner or later, you got to take the bully to the scrapyard and whip his ass. But yeah, you're going to get a little bumps and bruises because of it. But that eliminates that problem from ever being able to come back. And that's what's happening. And who's at the negotiating table right now? It's not NATO, because NATO is about to get kicked to the curb. Because I wouldn't be surprised if President Trump tonight, when he makes his address, he doesn't say that specifically, or that it's probably about to happen, because that is. NATO's done. The forming of the Council of Peace was to basically have that backstop. Every time we talk about things that are being backstopped, like the financial system, this and all of it's being backstopped with a replacement, so that when you take down the systems that are in place, list old guard, you have something in place. And what's in place is the Council of Peace and the European Union and NATO, and they're not a part of that. They're not at the negotiating table right now either. They are kicked out of the room and they have no say whatsoever. And this has all been a strategic plan to basically expose them for a one-way street of us protecting them, but they were never going to be there for us. And in doing so, that gives legitimate cause for us to now say, F you, we're done with y'all. Have a nice day. And people understand it.
Amen. I tell my audience it's a short-term pain for the long-term gain.
Yes, absolutely.
So, what do you think? Did you watch Trump's the signing of the executive order and all those crazy questions the reporters were asking him yesterday?
No, I didn't.
Well, one of them was something about the Iran was threatening something. I can't remember what it was, and Trump comes back and says, "Well, what are they threatening? They don't have anything. They don't have leaders. They don't have an army. What are they threatening with? A BB gun?"
And so what's funny is that all you have is a few situations where a bunch of terrorists, because that's all they are is terrorists, have some weapons that are actually non-discriminately just sending them off as they have the ability to do, because they have no leadership. There is no government there. And so basically the people, that's who the IRGC are really afraid of, is the people. And Trump, Netanyahu, and the prince basically has told them to stay off the streets until we tell you when. And as soon as they get that call, they're going to be the ones that rise up within their country to take their country back. And that's who the IRGC are really afraid of, because we're talking, you know, 75, 80 million people that are 100% against the oppression that's been being done to them for 47 years, and they only have about 5% that are actually on board with that criminal regime. So you've got about 4 to 5 million people out of the 90 million that are there. So you've got a good 85 million people that are 100% opposed to it, and they've been waiting for this. And so they're up on top of rooftops having, you know, parties, watch parties of their criminal organization being destroyed. They're in celebration. They know that they're not being targeted. They were never going to be targeted. And so as soon as they get the word, then they're going to hit the streets like they did before they got massacred back in January. And so that's what they really are in fear of. And so they have a guard corps that is basically been fighting at night, doing work as well. And so they do have some kind of like organized resistance that is operating inside the country. And it's just a matter of when they get the call, which basically the uh, commander of SOCOM basically has told them that they're not going to miss it. They're going to know when we call, as well as when they get the word to hit the street, it'll be safe for them to hit the street and take back their country. And that's all they're waiting on. They're waiting on us to finish what we have to do, take them to their weakest point, and to minimize the ability that they have to fight back against their people.
Thank you, Captain. All right, I got a couple more questions for you from me, and then everybody here, if you guys have a question for him, please start raising your hands. A couple of you already have. I will unmute your mic. Rumble over here. If you have a question for Captain, go ahead and write it in the comments, and I will read it to him as well. So you talked about today on your truck talk about all these people. Oh, he's starting a new war. He's just sending ground troops. Blah blah blah. So we know these ground troops aren't what did they say, like 2,500 to 3,000. That's not a big amount of people. So to the audience, to me, I would say it would be something more. I don't know if maybe cleanup, if the cleanup is the right word, but in your opinion, since we got those naysayers out there saying it's something different than what it really is, what is your opinion?
So those are specialized forces, okay? Like the MEU and special forces guys and things like that. But in all actuality, if you go back, Monkey Works started doing stuff back in November and December where they were having a lot of transports that were actually going into Israel and into the Middle East, that we have over 50,000 actual troops that are actually there in the Middle East region right now. Not talking about the other basic 10,000 on top of that that's being sent over there right now. So, in real estimates, we have about 75,000 within an hour to 2 hours into theater. So we have
Wow.
more than enough people in the area to do whatever the hell we decide to do, which that's not the idea. The idea is that, see, they know we have them there too. In reality, they know that there is no way out of this conflict that they're in. And what they've been trying to do is trying to create enough chaos with the shutting of the strait, causing these prices to go up, as well as bombarding all of their neighbors to the point where that they get their neighbors so upset with the um, attack against them, I mean Iran, that they would actually put pressure on the United States to cause them to stop. Well, that backfired completely because not only did they want the United States to do it, because that was the arrangement with Saudi Arabia, the UAE, and Qatar, and all them. That was why Trump went there not very long ago, whenever he went to Saudi Arabia and went through the whole Middle East, is they were discussing specifically the arrangements that were going to be taken to take down Iran, because they knew that that criminal organization was the threat to all of them to having economic prosperity and a real true future, because of their threats and the things in which they were always um, doing with manipulating the markets and everything else. And so until they were actually removed, they could never be able to fully have their economic explosion that they're planning for right now. And so they went into this that they were 100% behind Trump and behind Israel doing what they needed to do, but they had to look neutral. So they couldn't allow them to use their air bases and so on and so forth for the attacks, which are understandable because they wanted to be as neutral as possible in the offensive. Well, then when Iran started to target them and not just the bases, they started targeting their civilian population. And doing that did just the opposite. It reinforced the fact that they are nothing more than terrorists and they got to go. And by forming the Abraham Accords, basically that's the alliance that the Gulf states made with being able to operate alongside with Israel economically. That was the groundwork for this Persian and Gulf State alliance that's operating right now, which is all part of the Council of Peace as well, to get rid of the BS that was created by NATO, by the British imperialistic control mechanism for basically dominance over the financial situations of all the economies around the world. Because why? Because they're all controlled by energy. And if you can manipulate the energy markets, you can manipulate and cause stress upon economies all across the world. And when you're dealing with 20% of the seaborne oil and gas supply, you can always be able to manipulate those markets. And they've always done that. That is what's being eliminated. Those are the individuals that are at the negotiating table right now to eliminate that threat to them and their sovereignty and their economic sovereignty for their people forever. Not for a week, not for a month, not for a couple of years, forever. And the people that have been kicked out is Europe, the British, NATO, and all of that control, because they never create or make anything. All they do is basically insure and finance. So they take they take advantage of everything and make nothing. They want to be the controller. This is how the British have always operated, and it's never gone away. This is why whenever the Lords of London, the insurance company, started canceling, doubling, tripling, quadrupling the insurance for the tankers, and as soon as that happened, they park it. Well, that's London. That's the British. That's the monarchy that's in control of all that. And so that's why they got with the Treasury Department to create our own insurance and to supplement that and to provide protection, given the Lords of London basically the finger. We don't need you anymore. We don't need anything that you supply anymore. We will do it all alone without you. And they're freaked the fuck out because of it.
Yeah, it's all crumbling. It's all coming to an end, like you said in your truck talk today. So, can you talk to us about that? So you're saying that we're close to the end of this. And obviously I know nobody can really, I mean, tell us exactly when and how exactly it's going to happen. But can you give the audience kind of an idea of what you were speaking about when you said that in your truck talk today?
April and May are going to be really, really tough. And we're going to start seeing the other side of that going into the summer, going into right after May, probably even during May. But it's going to get really difficult over this month. April's going to
So
be a hard month, people.
So when you say tough, do you mean financially? Um,
All the
you know,
above.
all the above. So we
Financially, war. They're going to throw the fucking kitchen sink at you because they're on their last leg.
agreed. So everybody, that could mean anything and everything. That's why we say, how does that look? What does that, what does that look like? Nobody really knows. I mean, we can kind of have an idea because we've been preparing for it for so long. So that's why I just say, just pay attention. Pay attention to those that you feel that are comfortable in giving you the good, consistent information, that their messaging has never changed. Captain Kyle being one of them. Rob Cunningham, we had him on today. SGN on. Derek Johnson. All of their messaging is very consistent. So just as Captain Kyle says, and we've known this day is coming, and we're here. So you've got to stick and stay. Pick that side. There's no more wavering, guys. The wavering was done, I think, a long time ago. But if you've not picked a side, you better start picking a side real quick. So we're here. All
So
right, Cap. Go ahead.
anybody that is peddling the narrative of fear and that we're going the wrong direction and Trump doesn't know what he's doing, or that he's the puppet of Israel and Israel is the one that's in control of everything. Well, when Israel screwed up and actually took their agenda outside the boundary of what was going to be allowed, which they hit some energy infrastructure, and as soon as that happened, Trump put him in his place. Do not touch their shit. You want to do the other stuff, fine. That's good, because see, they have different agendas. Our agenda is being met 100%. And the agenda that the Israel would have, if it wasn't being controlled, is they would take total dominance. They would destroy the entirety of the place. They would take down all of their energy, all of their infrastructure. That's what you do in war. You destroy their ability to even operate, period. Well, that would put all of the people in a situation to where they would struggle just as bad as the regime itself would. That's not the idea. The idea is to cripple the organization to where they fall. We don't want the people to fall because it's about to come a time when the people actually hit the streets, take back their country, and they need a place to be able to grow from and not have to rebuild their entire country and be knocked back into, you know, the Stone Age, because that's what Israel would do. They have the ability to do that. And when they hear this stuff that this is going to go nuclear and Israel's going to nuke Iran, and they're fucking retards. Whoever talks about stuff like that are just fucking stupid. They don't have a clue to what is really going on and who is actually really in control, which is Trump and our military. We're setting the guidelines, we're setting the rules of engagement, and they are being followed 100%. No ifs, ands, or buts about it. And when we given opportunities for Iran to come back to the table, when we've given them a deadline, that is intentional to be able to bring people to a place going, and I'm not just talking about here, but I'm talking globally, that he continually tried to bring a negotiated end to something that they would not actually adhere to, especially when you continue to do it over and over. I reset this 3 times. This has been the third deadline that he gave to push back on it. And the situation is that they're either going to meet it or they're going to actually suffer the consequences of that. And that's how it actually has to go, period. And when we've taken out pretty much all of their military, we've taken out pretty much almost all of their navy. They've only have a few fast boats left. And as far as their ships, they're all gone. Their command center gone. Their air force gone. They don't have any structure left. And so they're coming to a point where they have a choice: either die on your sword or capitulate. And that's where they're at.
Amen. So get excited, everybody. Great times ahead, and obviously we will see some bumpiness, but stay strong, stay focused, and head on a swivel. All right, Captain, we're going to go into some questions here for you. So we've got here on Telegram, I have unmuted a couple mics, so please, everybody, start raising your hands if you want to ask Captain Kyle. Michelle, your mic is unmuted. Go ahead. Go ahead, Michelle. Blue button in the middle of the screen. And everybody be mindful, if you request a mic, Captain gives us 90 minutes of his time, and I like to be respectful of my guest time, so I kind of got to move on pretty quickly. So go ahead, Gene Wood. Your mic is unmuted. Gene Wood, your mic is unmuted. Hello, you guys requested a mic. They're unmuted. All right, well, we're moving on. Here we go, Captain. Here is one that says, hello, Jenny and Captain Kyle, and thank you both. Can Captain tell us what's up with this Artemis trip today and why this big lie today? Why this big lie happened today?
So, in all reality, it's preparing the people for what is to come, even if it's showing an archaic way of doing it, because disclosures happening. And when we start getting disclosure and um, knowing about the technologies that have been suppressed, as well as a lot of the technologies that are coming, um, that's going to open up not only our history, but also our future, which is in the actual stars and in different realms as well. And that it's going to it's going to create a alliance of bringing us into being able to trade and to have this relationship with beings that have been here and that have been trying to get us to a place of awareness so that we can actually enter into our future, because there's so many things that people, the average person, can't hardly even wrap their head around. But those things in which we've seen in Star Wars and Star Trek and all that kind of stuff, we have already been doing all of that for a long time. Just like the head of Skunkworks, when he left, he said that's where all of that story dialogue came from in writing those movies and that uh, show, is from what we're actually doing.
Thank you, Captain. Here's another one. It says, this is from Sonia Mack over on Rumble. What's going on with the NASA, and are we going to be told the truth soon about this? Thank you, Captain, Kyle, and Jenny, for all you do. Oh, that NASA, excuse me. What's going on with NASA? And are we going to be told the truth eventually?
Yes, we are going to actually be told the truth. Um, it's coming. A lot of it's coming this year. Um, the disclosure of the UFOs and UAPs and all that, it's all coming forth piece by piece in time for people to be able to digest it, because there's a lot that comes with all of that, which all of a sudden, if all of that becomes out there right now and so on and so forth, you've got a massive amount of people that is going to freak out, because it's going to call into question everything that they fundamentally believed and stood for in faith, that isn't the way that it was presented to anybody. And people have to be prepared for that over time so that they can truly be able to digest it and not just lose it, because that's going to question people's fundamental beliefs, their core beliefs that they've spent their whole life trying to operate within. It's going to be very difficult for people. It's not going to be all of a sudden celebrate, and because there's going to be a massive amount of people that are fundamental Christians and everything else will find out that they've been lied to completely.
Yeah. And Captain's been saying this for a long time. It's people are going to be very shocked. We're all going to be shocked. So, thank you for that, Captain. Go ahead, Norma. Your mic is unmuted. Go ahead.
Hi, thank you. Um, I saw a video recently of President Trump speaking about April 2nd being Liberation Day. What could you say about what this might mean?
Oh, look, there's an oil tanker. Did you
Yeah,
hear?
it's pretty big. Yeah, I'm thinking how I want to
Oh,
proceed
okay.
with the question.
I wasn't sure if you heard it or not. Sorry.
We want to make sure you were
No,
still with us.
no, I'm here. I'm just gonna. It's almost here, so let's just wait on that question until we get further. I don't want to put the cart before the horse on any of this. Just like tonight, I think that there's going to be some things potentially revealed in Trump's talk tonight at 9 o'clock
Okay.
Eastern time, and so it's not like you're going to have to wait a long time, but it, there's I think it's going to be some changes to how we are going to move forward.
Okay. All right. Well, that sounds good. I'm expecting a lot of things to begin to be revealed and moving forward, and good, bad, or indifferent. It's time for it, and I think that's what he meant. But thank you so much for what you could say, and like you said, it won't be much longer.
It is a positive thing. Everything that
Okay,
we're
good.
moving to, even though it's difficult,
Okay.
in the end, it's moving to the high road. And sometimes moving to the high road is a difficult thing, but it's always best there. And whenever we're there, all of it's going to be worth it. I've said this from the very beginning. All of the difficulties, all the trials, all the heartaches, and the tough times that everybody has been through, when we finally get to the other side completely and be able to experience what true freedom is, and I mean complete freedom, then
Right.
when you look back on it and go, I never could have ever imagined life could have been this good.
Well, beyond our imagination. Great.
It really is, because no one has a perspective of that. Nobody does. And I'm talking about, let's put this into perspective for you. Even people that are very financially well to do,
Hmm.
usually they're not truly happy.
Yeah.
They have different problems, they have different situations that they go through. A lot of them are alcoholics
Hmm.
because they have a hole that is never filled. They have the best job, they have all the money, they have all the things that you would think would make someone happy, and they're not. And when they get
Right.
there, they're like, they can't understand why they're not happy,
Okay. That's
because
right.
spiritually they're empty.
Hmm.
None of this matters. It was always a design to chase everything in the physical when the physical never mattered. This was all supposed to be just an experience. And
And
without
it's
the
really good.
spiritual, there is
Mhm.
nothing.
Right. Yes. It concerns me that some of the I would say good people that are following everything right now are really missing the spiritual side of it. They're not really seeing how spiritual this really is. They're still
Oh, absolutely.
in in a
Absolutely.
rote of what they have always known about, and they're thinking it's going to continue. It'll just be we'll be better off, but it will continue. But I just don't
So,
believe that.
so something I heard today. I was listening to this. I was at the getting a checkup at my doctor's office today, my man doctor, and um, when I was sitting there, I was watching this podcast, and this guy was talking about it, about waking up and about the spirit. Basically, he had been living as a drug addict, just doing
Mhm.
drugs, not like junkie and all that, but just being messed up all the time, right?
Uh-huh.
From his mid 20s until his late 30s. And he had a spiritual awakening that was like, what are you doing? You're missing your entire experience here. And for what? Because you're not happy. And so you're
Right.
hiding by chasing that continuously to suppress the fact that you're miserable.
Hmm. Right. They're reaching for the things that the illusion tells them is going to make them happy, and it doesn't.
Yeah, it never will. And
Right.
so even church
Hmm.
doesn't do that. And that's
Right.
where so many people go to church, and it's like they feel still dead inside, because
Hmm.
church was never supposed to be church.
Right.
It was supposed
Absolutely.
to be a one-on-one experience with the creator, and that was supposed to be a place where people of like-minded individuals came together and had those experiences together. Nothing
Hmm.
else.
Right.
And then you go to a church today. This is what pisses me off more than anything. They act like they're holier now, and they're a bunch of freaking losers.
Yeah. That's right.
because they have their head stuck so far up their ass, they think they're better than everybody else, and
Mhm.
they're not. And when the person that actually comes in that is lost and without hope, they get the same thing from them
Mhm.
because they're they get that fake, oh, you're welcome here, and then as soon as they go away, the people talk about them behind their back. Did you see so and so came in there
Yep.
today? God, they smelled so horrible. I couldn't believe it. I couldn't even sit next to him. It's like, you are a fucking pig. Excuse my French, but that's how I feel. And that's how the fake has always been. And so I I went from church to church, to religion, and until I actually had a actual one-on-one experience with my father, it was all fake. And it's just going through the motions, and it's acting like you're doing something that is 100% for yourself to make yourself feel good about how crappy you really are inside and how you feel about yourself.
Amen. Thank you, Captain. Thank you, Norma. And this is interesting that you guys may want to know. It kind of goes back to, she was asking about what April 2nd would mean. Janie said on Telegram, April 2nd, 2025 tariffs were implemented. Tomorrow will be the year anniversary. So that's interesting. So tomorrow's 1 year anniversary for the tariffs when they were implemented, guys. All right. So let's go with Judy. Your mic is unmuted. Go ahead. Go ahead, Judy. Your mic's unmuted. If not, Agnes, you can go.
I'm
Go ahead,
here.
Judy. Go ahead.
Okay. Captain
Can you hear
Kyle,
me? This is Agnes.
this is Judy.
Go
Oh,
ahead. Go ahead, Judy.
Okay.
okay.
Agnes,
So
you,
I'll
Agnes, you
mute.
can go. You can go after Judy. Agnes, go ahead, Judy.
Okay, I'll
These,
mute.
these dang unmute buttons. Thank you guys for having a meeting today. It's really good to hear both your voices. Captain Kyle, some time ago you talked about Ascension and how, if I remember right, if I understood correctly, you talked about how you felt like it wouldn't be, I think the way you said it was complete or not for a few years, I believe is how you said it. And meanwhile, there's, a lot of different voices out there and they're talking about it, like any minute now. I just wondered if you had any further enlightenment on that or an update maybe?
So you cut out right when you said what I said.
Okay, let me try it again. How's this? Does that work?
Yes.
Okay, good. I believe if I remember right, you said that the completion of Ascension, maybe that's not quite the right language, would probably not be for a few years, possibly. I think you said anytime from 26 until 28 or 30, something like that. And I just wondered if you had any other updates on that, because there's a lot of, chatter out there now about, oh, it's going to happen like on Easter for one thing. So
No.
I just wondered if you had any insight.
No, it ain't gonna happen that quick.
I
No.
didn't think so either.
We're all in. Yeah, we're in the process of awakening and preparation, not just in our bodies, but our minds, our consciousness, and the people. And in that, the planet itself has to go through its birthing pains as well. And that's really what we're going through. And so the real timeline in which I believe that we could actually go, and this is with the change is somewhere between 28 and 30. It could be a little sooner than that, it could be a little after that, but I'm talking as in a whole. Now, will there be some people that transcend into 5D? Because it already exists. I've been there a bunch of times. Actually, The other day, Elon was up on stage talking about the future of travel and everything else. He's describing 5D. And this is what our reality is going to become. It's already there. And you can if you can match your frequency to it, you can actually go into 5D. I've been going into 5D for about a year, 2 years now. I know other people that have been going into 5D and experiencing it, and I just can't stay because I'm not going there physically. I'm going there spiritually. I'm going there in a out of body experience, so to speak. But it doesn't make it any less real. Just like as if this 3D space that we're in is actually who we are. It's not. This is only an experience of our higher self in this dimension. We actually are multi-dimensional, and we are co-inhabiting many dimensions simultaneously. And when you can align to that, you can actually go into it, perceive it, experience it. But what's going to end up happening in this realm is that 5D and this dimension that we're in the process of transitioning into that reality physically. And that transition is what's being talked about by the solar flare, the however it wants to be presented, because we are actually going into a polar shift and things are changing in this physical domain that nobody can stop. This three-dimensional reality is going to destroy itself.
Thank you, Captain. All right. Thank you. I think that was Judy. There's that outside question. Okay, so
It
I'm gonna
was.
read. Okay, so I'm gonna read a question here from Rumble. No, excuse me, from Telegram. Shauna. It says there are a couple prophets in quotation saying that JD Vance is a wolf in disguise. What are your thoughts on JD? I realize Trump puts people in the spotlight for a reason, but would appreciate your insight.
He's not a wolf in sheep's clothing, but he's not who you think he is either. I'm just going to leave it at that.
Yeah, I love it. Short and sweet. Okay, so here's one from Rumble. Dubadot or Dibadot, whatever. If I butchered your name, I apologize over here on Rumble. Are the satanic buildings going to be coming down in April or May?
No, but they will be coming down.
Thank you, Captain. And okay, we'll go here with some hands. Go ahead. Agnes J, go ahead. Your mic is unmuted.
Thank you for taking my question. Appreciate it. I have a question about Lebanon. It seems like it's mayhem over there. What's going on and what's the end game?
So Lebanon has been a proxy for Hezbollah and a hub that's been allowed to operate for Iran, and it's being eliminated. And so when I said today, I don't know if you heard it or not, but when I talk about Iran and its proxies being taken out, they are being removed from the playing board completely. Hezbollah, the Houthis, all of them. There will not be a terrorist organization that's left when we're done. That's the cartels and all. They are all being dealt with. So Lebanon has been a Houthi hub and been allowed to operate with the protection of the government because the government was in fear of Iran and the proxy Hezbollah that were there. That's being removed. And so the government itself is acting as well to disembowel that they have no, they don't want them there. They have no protection anymore, and it's time for them to leave or be dealt with. And they're being dealt with.
Just like everybody else in the world, right?
There's no hiding place, nowhere.
No, nowhere to go. Thank you, Captain. Okay, here's another one from Janie over here on Telegram. America question. America 250. Planning and events have been building through 2025 to 2026, with July 4, 2026 as the peak centerpiece. What's going to happen in Iowa?
So it's not going to be just in Iowa. There's going to be a lot more than what's been revealed on how they're going to use it to celebrate, but also to bring forth disclosure and technologies and future technologies that are on the table that already exist, but the people don't know it yet. It's going to be like when they used to use the world fairs back in the day in the 1800s, early 1900s, where they would bring forth the people together and the elites would come together and they would decide on what they were going to keep, what they were going to get rid of, and how they were going to move forward in how they were going to move forth with the technologies and the economies going forth. This is going to be kind of similar to that, but it's going to be a lot more expansive because it's going to start to bring forth and show technologies that are here and available, and it's going to introduce people to them hands-on our future in a way that they've never experienced that before in their lives.
Thank you, Captain. Okay, go ahead. I think it's Mike Colin. Your mic is unmuted. Go ahead.
Yeah, Captain. Well, thanks, guys, for the podcast. Captain, it almost sounds to me like you're saying they are going to get rid of this color of law crap that puts mankind under the legal fiction courts, and we're going back to our creator's law. Is that kind of what you're saying?
We are, and it's all process that we're having to go through on reestablishing proper jurisdictions and setting up the proper court systems in the way that they're supposed to operate versus the way that it's been operated under maritime law and commerce court versus equity, which doesn't exist right now, that's being reestablished. So that's all a part of the process that we're having to go through right now, and eliminating that corporate construct over the people and over the system. Because everybody right now, whether they like it or they don't like it, or whether they want it or they don't want it, they're all a part of the corporate construct under their straw man. And that has to be revealed, but also removed so that people can actually go back into their own individual sovereignty and operate as a republic.
Thank you very much. That's what I wanted to know.
Yes, we are headed in that direction.
Thank you, Captain. Thank you, Mike, for your question. All right, Warrior Girl, go ahead. Your mic is unmuted.
Thank you guys for being here. And that really ties into my question as well, because I truly believe that we're going to be free and that it's not that much longer. But right now, I wanted to know about property taxes. Are they going to be automatically done away with when we do go into common law? Or is that going to take longer, more of a process? And so just wondering what your thoughts are on that. Thank you.
So all of this is a process of revealing property taxes being fraudulent, and these school bonds that are basically, they've been committing fraud with for a long time. They're about to blow the lid off of all this crap. And most people don't even have a clue. But these school bonds are 5 trillion into the fraud section. 5 trillion. And so
I want
all
a
of
quick say, Captain. I do know about that. I'm a rare bird, but I have been fighting against the school board, and we have enlisted the state auditor and got him involved, and then he mysteriously got taken out. But we've tried exposing the property tax fraud, the bonds. There's millions of dollars missing. So I agree with you. And so when do you think that this will be blown out of the water? Like
it's
this
before
year,
the
next
courts.
year?
It's before the courts right now.
Oh,
People don't
okay.
realize it,
Awesome.
but it is. And the Texas Grand Supreme Court, it's out there. Many people are working on it, and I'm talking at a very high level. So it's not like nobody knows about it, but I'm talking about just the average public doesn't know about it, but the people that need to know are dealing with it, and it is being dealt with. It is going to come to the forefront. When it does, that may be one of the mechanisms that are used to collapse the entire financial system on purpose. So, because when that comes forth, it's going to make 2008 housing market fraud look like kindergartner school. So, but it's all fraud. It's all paper. It doesn't exist. There's no actual real currency backing it. It's been a means to
Launder money and steal
yes,
money.
I was trying to look for the right word. Fleece the
Aha. Yep.
people and keep them basically in a noose for their property in actual real ownership. And so what's going to end up happening is that the way that I had been kind of shown is that people are going to be taken out of the property tax system. Their property is now going to be their property. They're going to actually own their property. And it's not going to be like a deed where you don't actually own it. You're a tenant of your deed, but you actually own your actual deed. And there,
Exactly.
and
And
so
that's
that's the
that's
way
my
that.
question. Do you think it'll be this year? And then I'm done. I'll let someone else talk. But do you think it'll be this year? That's
Boy,
my
you don't,
question.
yeah, he's trying to answer you. You got to let him answer. Hang on a second. Go
So
ahead, Captain.
so I don't know if it'll come to complete fruition this year, but it's definitely going to come out this year. Um, I would think that the way that it's been being kind of talked about with property taxes and with trying to eliminate income taxes and all this other um, fraudulent taxes of the people, so to speak, then I really honestly do believe that it's going to happen this year. But how it all comes out, when it all does, it's all going to kind of happen simultaneously on freeing of the people. But are we going to go through a major issue because of it financially? I think so, because it's going to be a major financial crisis that affects everybody globally, not just here in the United States. So this has all been backstopped by the wealth fund and the actual real treasury and the bonds, the real dragon bonds, and so on and so forth, that are real currency, real money that has been in place to supplement the crash of the fiat system. But people are going to have to go through the crash of the fiat system. It's going to scare the shit out of the people that money was their God. And that God's not going to save them.
Thank you, Captain. All right, we're gonna go here to Rumble. Read some questions over here. Kashisha, I hope I said that right. If not, I apologize. It says, would Captain provide his thoughts on Senator Fetterman, a placed character to let people know how controlled the government is? What are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, absolutely. He's an actor. He's playing
Thank
his
you.
role
Yeah, and
100%.
it's pretty obvious he doesn't look like the original. Okay, here's one from E Dolphin. Question: when will we see the hospital system murdering the people be dismantled publicly?
It's going along as quick as people can stomach it, along with everything else, because everything has to come to a head kind of almost simultaneously, to a point where people cannot take this anymore. We've got to go into a precipice of complete destruction. And it's not just a nuclear destruction, it is a complete destruction across the board, so that people can actually finally get this MK Ultra programming pulled out of their mindset completely. It's got to break. They have to break.
Okay, here's another one from E Dolphin to go with that question. What will happen to the current medical students? Will they be retrained? Will the justice be served to the bioweapon pushing doctors, nurses, etc.?
So yeah, they'll end up getting have to be retrained if that's the direction that they want to continue in, because it's going to change to actual homeopathic treatments and therapies that are going to go forward, that have to do with frequency and sound and elements and all of the things that they're not being educated for right now.
Thank you, Captain. Okay, here's one from Sonia Mack. Question: when is the fake news going to be truthful finally? Never. I'm kidding. I
Well,
think
if you listen to CNN, more and more of it, they're ratting out their own people. So, all right. So when you talk about these polls that have been being done, they're talking about these on CNN, and that the polls like of MAGA, and do they support Donald Trump of MAGA? 100%. It's never ever happened, ever. And then they're talking about the war and talking about across the board, thinking, are we winning? Actually, 76% of the people across the board are saying yes, we are. And so that's not the narrative that is being parroted across the entire industry, though. So are they paying attention, or are they listening to what the mainstream media is basically trying to script for them? They're not paying attention. They're actually looking at the actual results, as well as what is actually going on, and not allowing them to be lied to and not buying it. And so there's been a lot of these anchors that have talked about the shutdown and about TSA and about them just holding up the government for something that they're never going to get, because it's about defunding ICE and getting rid of the illegals, and they're already funded. And so they're using TSA and the Department of Homeland Security, which is there for our benefit. They're holding them hostage to try to get their way on something that doesn't even pertain to it. And they're actually calling them out for it. It's
Thank you.
happening.
Thank you, Captain. Hopefully, Sonia, that answers your question. So, like Captain says, it's happening. It's just kind of like a slow thing. But just pay attention. I think it's gonna. I think they're gonna be forced to start telling the truth, right? And thank you for your compliments, Sonia. By the way. Okay, so we'll come back over here to Telegram on the front side with the hands raised. Cheryl, your mic is unmuted. Go ahead. Go ahead, Cheryl Roush. You requested a mic. Go ahead. If not, Colorado Mama, you can go ahead.
I'm ready to go.
Go ahead.
I had some information today, Captain, and I'm just wondering, I heard about Operation 8 Ball finished, is completed, and now we're starting Operation Q-Tip. And I just am looking into that today.
These names.
And Operation Q-Tip was back in 1991. You may have some information and knowledge of that one. What say you about Operation Q-Tip? And if someone wants to research it, you just type in Operation Q-Tip, and you can look at that. Is that something that's in your wheelhouse that you can talk about?
No, not really.
Okay,
I don't feel comfortable talking about it. No, right now.
understand.
But
That's all for
you can look
now.
it up and see what
Thank you.
is out there that is open source, and make your own determinations of what you can see from that to what potentially is happening right now,
Mm-hmm.
and put two and two together.
Yeah. Well, I found it quite interesting. That just launched. So, and we just ended Operation 8 Ball. Yeah. So, interesting times. Thank you.
Thank you, Colorado Mama. Okay, Amy Weiss, go ahead. Your mic is unmuted. Go ahead, Amy. Your mic is unmuted. All right, Dream Lover King, your mic is unmuted.
Hi, Captain Kyle. I just would like to know what your insight is on all of the Islamic influx in the U.S. and how it's going to be addressed or possibly resolved.
So it was always the idea was always to destabilize the country, just like it's doing in the European nations right now.
Mm-hmm.
But the problem with that is that the American people will not tolerate it.
Okay.
And because the American people won't tolerate it, they will always force the hand of the elected officials, good, bad, or indifferent, to only give it so much authority, so much power, and then have to pull the plug on it, because they're always only going to do things that are beneficial to them. And because of that, it's allowed to a certain degree on purpose so that people can actually experience the ideology
Mm-hmm.
of how it is completely incompatible with our constitutional rights.
So
But
do
if
you
people
think
don't
they'll,
experience it, then
yeah,
they don't understand it, they don't know it, and it's real easy for people to, you know, allow something
Right.
that they don't know what its core fundamental beliefs are. And its core beliefs are to take over
Mm-hmm.
and completely change the ideology to their belief system.
Right.
And in doing so, it can't work with sovereignty and a sovereign individual under our constitution or a republic, our republic.
Okay.
And that's what is going to be institutioned all over the world, not just here in the United States.
Right.
And it's being exposed for its actual true nature, and that it can't operate that way.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
Thank you, Captain. Thank you, Dream Lover. All right, L17, your mic is unmuted. Go ahead.
Hi, Captain. Thanks for all you do. So, I have something I've been thinking about, and I want to ask you about it. So, I remember listening to interviewing Robert Kraft when people were getting all wigged out about the fact that Trump's name was going on everything. And when Trump's name went on the Kennedy Center, as I recall, Robert Kraft said that it was being put under the trust in the new republic. So I carried that over to and made some other connections, and I just want to ask you about it. So now we see, well, we know the Trump name went on the Bitcoin, so I'm wondering if that's part of it. But I also, now we see his name going on the dollar bill, which is hilarious, thinking about all the Trump deranged syndrome people carrying his picture in their pocket. And then also now when the Trump library came out, it brought tears to my eyes because I know it's going to include the Q plan, because it has to, because all the things he accomplished. And so I'm just excited about this, but I'm just wondering if that what's happening here, because we've been told, or we've seen things in Telegram that say Trump is a persona. Trump stands for the true republic under military power. So I'm just trying to connect this all together. Am I on the right track? And do you want to tie any of that together for us? Thank you.
So, yes, Trump is a part of the plan, has always been a part of the plan. And so, if this is why, if you go back and you listen to Trump back in the 80s, talking about even Iran and everything else, his message has never changed about our future and what we need to do because of how do I say this? Not just our government, but these NGOs and everything else, how they have been working against the people, and how he's actually made comments that either our government are complete idiots or they're doing this on purpose. And he doesn't think they're complete idiots. So he knew that they were doing these things on purpose. And when you have someone, and this is really important, is that he's been being prepared for a time such as this. His whole adult life was friends with
The enemy.
Junior. Well, he was friends with Junior. I mean, they were
Oh, yeah,
good
yeah, yeah.
friends. And so this has all been something that has been discussed, talked about, prepared for a time as right now, and that it wasn't just put into play the last 15 years or 20 years. No, Trump's ideology about Iran, getting rid of Iran, taking control over the world, and doing the things that are being done right now started coming out in the 80s. That's why whenever he talks about those things back in the 80s and 90s, they're exactly what he's doing right now. How many people do you know that 40 years earlier were they talking about their ideas and how they believed and what they thought was best for this country, and now actually doing exactly that? I don't know, but 40 years ago in my 20s or late 20s, or I mean early 20s, um, late teens, I wasn't thinking about anything like I am today. And even in that perspective, but you can go back and look at him, and his mindset has always been the same about how to operate, how to take down these problems that we have in the world. And that is not normal unless he was actually being prepared all the way back then, specifically for times such as right now, because he was.
Thank you, Captain. Did that answer your question, L17?
Well, not fully, because I'm still wondering about that he's moving these things from the corrupt, because he's the exchequer of the world, so he owns everything. But does he really? Isn't it in trust for all of we the people? I guess that's the point I'm trying to make here.
Yes. And so basically, the trust is in the treasury, and it's for the people. He's never
Right.
commingled anything of his own personal and what is the property of the United States or the American people, even though he had the ability to do exactly that. Those
Okay, great.
are
Thank you.
specifically for the American people.
Thank you, Captain. Thank you, L17. Okay, we're going to go over here to Rumble. We've got a couple questions here. It says, this is from CAD18. Jenny, so many people are in desperate need of med beds. Does Captain have any insight on the release date? I love my friends and they need help. God bless you. I hear you. Well, again, nobody really truly knows the date, but do you have any insight on that for her, Captain?
Med beds will not come forth until the evil and corruption is completely eliminated. They are too powerful. They have the ability to give life as well as take away life, as in the entirety of this planet.
Thank you, Captain. Okay, here's another one from, what is it? Amazonic 72. Anything new you can share regarding Nasara? Thank you.
It's coming, and every day we get closer to it. So the financial system has to come to a final place of no future and dying. And like I said, would it be, how is that going to come to manifestation? So there's a lot of different ways that can be brought forward. There's the bonds that are owned by China and different countries that can be pushed into the United States for payment on, all at the same time for our debt. They can also have this the bonds, these school bonds that are fraudulent, that could come forward and put us into a position of a $5 trillion fraud scheme that would cause over almost 700 banks to actually default immediately. So what is it going to be, the actual mechanism that causes all the dominoes to start falling? Nobody knows exactly what it is, when it is. All we're seeing is different avenues that are gonna happen, but how they happen and when they happen simultaneously or whatever, nobody knows the trigger or when the trigger is gonna happen. But it's coming.
We're closer today than we were yesterday. Thank you, Captain. All right, here's one from Connie on Rumble. So financially, I was forced by a bad marriage / husband to file for bankruptcy. So for 4 years left, we owe about $4,000 a month. He has to pay 100% back. Will this bankruptcy go away?
After the financial system changes, yes, but not until. Because until it changes, you're in a contract that you are in an agreement for your protection to stay the creditors, that you have a way to pay what was in agreement.
Thank you, Captain. You have time for one more question?
Yeah, we'll do one more.
All right, Miss Amy Wise, I unmuted your mic again. Go for it.
Hi, I've got
Okay.
two questions. Two questions. Do you hear me?
Yes.
Okay. May not be able to answer it, but I have a question on the chemtrails and a question on the data centers. Are you familiar with any of that?
Both.
Are they going to come to an end?
No. So the chemtrails are actually positive. They're actually restoring our atmosphere and restoring our environment.
Good to hear.
They
How
have been
about
for
the
several years.
we have several data centers in Ohio where I live, and there's more coming. I just wondered what the effects of that is.
All positive. I mean, it's being presented as a threat, but it is not. But eventually, the data centers are going to be moved off world because they'll be able to operate in a better capacity and a environment of uh, low orbit space because of the cooling that has to be done here on, you know, in the atmosphere that you don't have to worry about in space, as well as this is what Elon was talking about the other day, is that you can use solar in space where you can actually get 100% of power and it's 24/7. And you can get efficiency of super high amounts as well because you don't have to use the same materials that you do here on Earth for that power to be able to be collected. Along with that, they've also have all kinds of other technologies and stuff as well that they're just not talking about. But the data centers are not bad. They're being presented as potentially evil and AI and all this, but in reality, it's going to change the economics of the entire world that is going to cause people not to have to be able to be slave labor ever again because we were never meant to be.
Yeah,
So we have to make that transition.
I've seen them, and they are gigantic, and
Yeah,
they're
Texas has
they're
them huge, the largest in the world.
yeah they've got huge block walls around them to protect them, and concerned about water usage and things like that. But it's good to hear what you're saying. Thank you very much.
But so this is the thing is that the water that's being used, it's just like a radiator in your vehicle. Okay. The water is going to come in, it's going to go out, it's going to come in. The deal is it's not using it and then eliminating it. It's
Did
not
we
like
lose?
they're bringing it, it's not like we're bringing in the water and it's going to use the water and the water's going to disappear or it's going to turn it into something that is unusable. And so all these are situations that are being presented to bring fear, trying to control and to manipulate how people feel about us moving forward. But there's nothing going to stop what's happening. We're already way past the point of no return on everything that's coming. We were years past that. All of the things that are happening right now have already been preordained and pre-negotiated years ago. Even the war that's taking place right now in Iran, the oil prices, everything was already pre-negotiated and agreed upon. All of it.
And everybody to try to, because we've been so dumbed down and, trained to be fearful, right? No fear, 365 times in the Bible. But try to change your mindset a little bit to not everything is meant for bad. That's what they wanted to do to us, but we need to change our mindset in the opposite, like the captain's saying. The chemtrails, they're for our good. I heard in one of my shows the other day that some parts in the country, they're seeing blossoming trees and stuff like that this early in the year. Like that's not normal for them. And then, the same thing with these data centers. I have them where I'm at. I swear it's where I'm at. It's warehouses everywhere, but there's one huge data center. It's strictly for TikTok right down the street from my house. And the foreman, the guy that's the foreman for that place, you go inside that thing, it's nothing but computers. And it's basically TikTok's data center. And there's 3 huge buildings right next to each other, and they're gigantic. But again, try to change that mindset and not think that everything is for bad. Just like the AI, everybody's freaking out about the AI. We've had this technology for a long time. We've just never been introduced to it because they didn't want us to have it. So if it's in the hands of the right people, it can be used for good. If it's in the hands of the wrong people, it can be used for bad. But remember, we are in a war too for the control of over AI. We don't want China to get it, because if China gets it, we're screwed. So you got to everybody's got to learn to change your mindset, because again, this is a war for the mind. And if you're thinking everything's going to be bad for us in the future, then that's not going to be good for your mind. That's why I keep telling you, be careful who you listen to, who you follow, what you're putting in your mind.
They
So,
want
Captain.
you, they want you to be panicking all the time. Because if you are, you're easily controlled. You're easily persuaded into how they want you to think, how they want you to feel. And they do it through fear and through panic. Because when you're panicked, you don't actually make rational, good, thoughtful decisions. So that's why when you get into an emergency, the worst thing you can do is panic. And if they keep you in a panicking state all the time, you're worthless.
Amen. Spot on. Well, everybody, Captain Kyle gives us an hour and a half of his time. We're right there. Captain Kyle, when are we going to see you next? You've been so highly requested.
I just gonna have to play it by ear, so I can't promise you anything right now with the way things are and the way my work is. Um, it's just it's hard for me to make formal commitments for long periods of time and being able to stick to it. So I'll let you know, and we'll try to do the best we can, and I will come back as soon as I can. And it's the thing that I want people to understand is that we need to begin to start using our own discernment. This is one thing that God has showed me over and over and over again, is that there comes a time that you have to start following your own heart, your own thoughts, and your own decisions, and not being led by others. It's always good to have counsel of others, but not depend on others for your information. And the more we can get into our own self reliance, the better you all will be.
Amen to that. And thank you, Captain. Yes, we will make it work, guys, to get Captain back on here. But again, he is busy at work, and with his daily life, family and work is always first. This is secondary to both he and I. I do have a day gig. So watch for, upcoming shows with Captain Kyle. It's just going to be when he can. But he knows I'll be messaging him and asking when he's ready to do the show. So I won't let him off the hook that easy. But with that, everybody, God bless you, Captain. Love you. Thank you for being here. Great show. Great, just great information as always, Captain. Take care of yourself, and we'll see you soon.
All right. See you later, guys.
All right. God bless you guys. Have a great evening. Talk to you tomorrow for Rick Anson, Brain IQ Health, here on my Telegram page. And then we will stream it live through Rumble as well. And that's 4 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. And that will be my last show for the week. And that will have been 8 by the time that one's done. So with all that, guys, God bless. Have a great evening. Take care.
Goodbye, everybody.
Good night, Captain.